everyone, and welcome to On Sprue Review. My name's Violet Sun, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Outcasts Gang by Games Workshop for Necromunda. Now this box is of 12 miniatures, 3 identical sprues of 4 miniatures. This box of 12 isn't available from Games Workshop at the moment. They are selling a box of just 4 of these guys, just a single version of the sprue. So if you do want to get hold of them, they are available. Hopefully this big box will return as it was much better value, but you might be stuck with just buying them 4 at a time. Now before we have a look at what's inside the box, let's have a little look at the artwork on the outside. Now the outside of this box is really nice. It's got some good texture and detail around the edge. Sort of rusty metallic look that's very evocative of the Hive city of Necromunda. Some nice graphics. A good idea of what you're getting in the box, and showing off the main attraction of this kit, which is the diversity. You get a lot of different styles of clothing, a lot of different weapons, a lot of different heads. A really good kit for a source of conversion parts and for bodies for basing conversions on. Also got a nice little bit of artwork depicting one of these Outcast Gang members. The back of the box is much the same. More pictures of the studio painted miniatures. Some nice close-ups of some of the bits and pieces you get in this box, some of the different weapon options. Again, the same sort of rusty metallic look. Also a few suggested paints at the bottom here. They're a good starting point, but I don't think they really are going to help if you want to try and achieve some of the more interesting shades of clothing that are shown on the box art. All in all, pretty good box. I still don't like the figures just kind of floating in the middle of nowhere. I would rather see them actually on some terrain or something, but with so many figures and only a small amount of box space, maybe that'd be a little bit difficult. Definitely an average at least box. It's not bad, it's not fantastic, it's alright. Now let's have a little look at the contents of the box. Of course you get some instructions. In this case I'm just going to look at one sprue. There were 3 identical sprues in this box, but as I say, the current one you just get the single sprue. And with this I got a bunch of the really nice sculpted 25mm bases, and I assume you get those in the newer repack of this sprue as well. Let's take a look at the instructions first. Now the front of the booklet isn't the most thrilling, just some black and white images of suggested tools and some read first warnings in a bunch of different languages. The inside isn't a whole lot better, it's all black and white images. Thankfully these models are all very simple. They're only about 5 pieces each plus the base, and there's a few extra accessories, so you could say 6 pieces per model. They're all this very similar construction of just a torso, front and back, a left and right arm and head. I think most people would be able to manage to get the right parts of those into the right parts of the model. It's nice to actually give some direction as to how to put these models together, but I don't think this leaflet's all that necessary, given these are very, very simple models. You get a nice little shot of the gang all together, and at the back you get I guess this is Necromunda tracker for a gang member. That's a nice inclusion. There's obviously no rules here, but it's something to fill out the back page, I suppose. I would rather have seen some more in-depth painting instructions, but given this is a black and white booklet, trying to do full colour painting instructions is probably a bit beyond it. I always seem to find the specialist games instruction booklets aren't as good quality as the mainline Games Workshop lines. I'm not sure why that is, whether they come from a different team or if they're just not considered as important because these are products aimed at a more advanced audience, and most of them are just going to throw this away and not look at it anyway. But I kind of wish they were all of equal quality. It'd be much nicer to see this actually be as good as the ones that come with 40k kits. Now I think it's about high time we had a look at the sprue. Now, in my opinion, the best parts on this sprue are the bodies. It's really useful to have Imperial civilian clothing, especially a good variety of it. The actual gangs of Necromunda are all very stylized, but these, as I've said previously, are really good for conversions. Imperial citizens are everywhere in the 41st millennium, and whilst this might be a clothing style most typically found on Necromunda, I'm sure these fashion styles are spread throughout the Imperium on similar worlds, and even some that are not so similar. This first body, very, very nice detail. This kind of ribbed environment suit styling, which we've seen previously on things like the Gene Stealer cults, looks really nice. And I like that it's a little bit more ragged and downtrodden than we normally see. And the second piece of that model that has the other leg and the back of the torso, equally as nice. More of that great ribbed detail that you can do a lot with just a little bit of dry brushing or washes on this kind of detail, and you end up with a really nicely, what looks like a really nicely painted mini with very little effort. Another big favourite of mine is this body. The front of it here, you can see this really nicely done quilted padded armour. This is a style that's been knocking around in Warhammer 40,000 for a very, very long time, so it's good to see it brought back on this miniature. Again, something that you can just do a little bit of extra painting work on and it suddenly pops out as a lot of extra detail. And the other half of this miniature, again, has similar design on the back and some quite nicely sculpted boots as well. I think it's worth pointing out as well that there's some female bodies in here. Really good seeing some representation, especially of women civilians, not something that you get a lot of in Warhammer kits normally. And this is the back half of that torso with a really nicely draped long coat, really nice folds and extra detail on there. And the fourth body, kind of similar to the first one I showed with the rib detail hiding in the depths here, but it's got an armoured plate on the front. I think this look picks him out as a bit more as a ganger. I can't imagine that many civilians walking around with body armour, but it is the 41st millennium. And the back half of that, more of that ribbed detail and nice straps to hold on that armoured piece on the front. I think that looks really, really nice, just that strapping. Another big plus for this kit is the large number of heads. Now, the neck joint on these is a little bit unique, so you will have to do some work if you want to use them with other kits. But there's some really nice faces. This guy with his spiky hair and shouty face, really nice snarling expression with sort of a little tuft of hair. This really nice hooded head, and a similar one with some kind of oculars over their eyes. And this face has got a really nice grumpy expression on it. There are a couple of others hidden amongst the rest of the bits. There's this one with a side shaven head and long hair over their eye. This head, which has been moulded side on to get their mohawk sticking up nicely. very, very strong sort of anarchist kind of vibes with the face mask. But I can see that working in a few different forces. And another kind of awkwardly positioned head. Quite a neutral face on this one, with a little tuft of hair at the front. Seems to be quite the fashion on Necromunda to just have a little tuft of hair and bear on the top. And then there are the weapons. Obviously these are gangers, and they're not sold as civilians, so they are all armed. This is kind of a Krieg-styled lasgun, but much more beaten up, and kind of looks like it's been bashed about and aged quite a long time. Maybe some sort of hand-me-down weapon. A nice drum-fed autogun, and a nice pump-action shotgun for close encounters. Quite a few pistols included as well. There's a las pistol, really nice unique auto pistol, a little stubby sawn off double barrel shotgun, and a little stub revolver. And for melee weapons, you've got a chainsword, really brutal looking spiked flail, a much tinier looking hand axe, a pretty brutal looking knife. So as you can tell, that's quite a lot of weapon options for 4 figures. 3 longer range weapons and 3 sort of melee pistol and hand weapon options. Not quite enough to equip all of them one way or the other, but it's kind of meant to be a mixed armament, I think. And the arm fittings on these are pretty standard. I'm sure you could get it like Imperial Guard las guns to work on these guys with only a little bit of trimming the arms. There are a couple of accessories included, these little grenade packs, which are nice to add on. Definitely make these guys seem a little more dangerous and heavily armed than if they've just got their ranged weapons. Now overall, I think this is a fantastic kit. A lot of parts, maybe not as much posability because all of the body pieces and legs are kind of matched up already, but if you really wanted, you could cut them at the waist and swap bits around. It would only take a little bit of work, but I think they look really nice as they are. And I think running them as their own gang in Necromunda is only one of many uses for them. I can see them being used for other gangs as kind of newer recruits who haven't quite earned the fancier colours of the gang just yet. Obviously they work really well for Genestealer cults, as those are drawn from Imperial citizens anyway. And you can definitely get the Genestealer cult heads to work on these bodies, and you can get these heads to work on the Genestealer cult bodies as well, just to give you more variety in your forces. It always looks better with a bit of variety and diversity in any army, I feel, especially ones that are meant to be more of a militia or rabble. Obviously something like Space Marines, they're being very uniform makes sense, but when you're a cult uprising, you use what you've got. So having different weapons and a mix of uniforms and civilian clothes and whatever they can improvise makes a lot of sense. Another faction that can use these is Chaos. There have been new Chaos cultists announced at this point, but again, you can mix these in with the cultists to give yourself a different feel and some more variety. I've already used a couple of sprues from this kit, mostly in my Genestealer cult force. I've been kind of throwing these together with a few bits from those to build some unique looking miniatures. If you've picked up these figures and have done some conversions, or if you've watched this video and an excellent idea has sprung to mind, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. If you found this review helpful, please give it a like. If you'd like to see more reviews, I've got a bunch already on my channel, and if you subscribe, that gives you the best chance of seeing more as they're released. Thank you very much for listening, and happy hobbying.